Game is Full of Bugs is a roguelike mashup of a top-down dungeon crawler and a deck builder where instead of cards and a deck, you have modules and a gun magazine. Hello and welcome back to Alchemy Ship. My name is Andras and I'm really excited to tell you what's been going on with this game in the past month, so let's just get right into it. As I have mentioned in the previous video, I took a break from this game during December, and the main reason for it is that I was really frustrated with the state of the game. Even though I said the game's issues was solved in the last devlog, I quickly came to realize that the underlying problem was still there and I didn't really know what to do about it. I was actually leaning towards keeping the game on hold and continuing work on the pirate deck builder I started in December, but luckily, just after New Year's Eve, I got an idea that didn't just make me think, oh yeah, I could try that, but actively excited me, and boy was the feeling on point. So here's what I did. I changed how the modules are obtained. Previously, you just got one module at the end of every level, which made the game super slow and also made it impossible to change things up during the run, which I found to be one of the actual main causes for the game to feel bad to play. So now, modules can just drop on the floor at any time just by killing enemies. You can get multiple of them every level, which makes it possible to basically fill up your entire magazine in a matter of a couple levels, and more importantly, you can also change your whole build at the same pace. This made the game a lot faster and a lot more dynamic, which fixed exactly what was wrong with it before. On top of this, I also made items obtainable just by playing instead of having them be in special places. So now they work somewhat like a leveling system, so the enemies drop this scrap that you can pick up, and when you have enough, you get a choice of an item. Every subsequent item requires more scrap, and you should be able to get around 10 or so during the run. So now I have the two pillars of the game that work off of one another. You can find items that make you want to pick specific modules, or even change up the whole build that you're going for, or you can find some modules that make you want to look out for specific items that work with them. And the other big thing that I added are projectile types and classes. So bullets are now referred to as projectiles because a bullet is just one type of them. It's the most versatile and it's probably going to be the most common one as well. But apart from bullets, you also have shells, which are a short-range shotgun type projectiles, so really good for getting in there and dealing a lot of single target damage if you dare going up close. Next we have the mortar, which is a long-range AoE projectile, really good for clearing groups of enemies and shooting over walls, but terrible if enemies get in your face. The fourth one is the shockwave, which is a close-range AoE projectile, so essentially like a melee weapon. And finally we have the laser. These are going to be really strong and probably a bit more rare because they have infinite range and deal damage to everything in their path. I have more ideas for different projectile types, but for now I decided to stick with this 5 because I think each of them has a specific use case that it's better suited for and also a downside that comes along with it. And the other thing is classes. There's going to be 3 of them, and the main and most common one will be the power class, which might be named differently in the end, and this is for all the projectiles that are somewhat simple in how they work and are just supposed to deal damage. Next we have the tech class, which is for all the projectiles that are a bit more intricate, like the queen bullet that spawns hatchlings or the injector shell that infests. And finally, the utility class, which are going to be all the projectiles that modify other ones, or heal you, or whatever else can fit under this name. Now both the projectile types and classes create this separation that makes effects that only work with specific things possible. So you can have items that make all the mortars have a 20% chance to shoot again, or an item that makes all bullets one-shot walls, or an item that makes all AoEs bigger depending on how many shell projectiles you have equipped, and so on and so on. Same thing can be achieved with modules, but those can then work with specific projectiles and other modules in the magazine, so they're like items that are contained to a specific region of your magazine. And just like that, the game is now actually super fun, it feels really good to play it, and now I'm definitely on track to make the demo, make the trailer, create the Steam page, and start transitioning from this conceptualization stage into the production stage. Now this video has been going on for quite a while already, and this was probably the biggest month for this game so far, so there's a lot to show, but I'll just try to go briefly over some of the other things. First, I made a bunch of improvements on the UI and how you control the whole game. I eliminated a lot of weird issues with specific menus or combinations of menus, and I also cleaned up some stuff so it's less cluttered and only shows you the relevant info. I added controller support, so the game is now fully playable on a gamepad, and a lot of UI stuff was improved to accommodate it, but also made the mouse and keyboard feel way better along with it. The game was also dressed up with some effects, mainly when you shoot a wall. Hitting enemies was also really improved and made more satisfying, and the biggest was probably the reworked explosions. They're now completely scalable, not just by increasing the scale of the object like before, but actually making the effect bigger and more impactful. And that's it! I'm sure I've forgotten a bunch of things, and there were obviously lots of little things and improvements that were made, but I think I've covered the big ones. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like it, maybe share it, and down in the comments you can let me know what you thought about it. I would really appreciate any kind of feedback. And as always, if you want to follow the development a bit more closely, these are the other places where you can find me, and they're going to be linked down below. And of course, thank you so much for watching, and if you don't want to miss the next video, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you up in the next one. Cheers!